You were indeed the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and exquisite beauty. Lucifer was more than just a sight to behold, he was a leader, a guiding light whose charisma drew other angels to him. His very presence inspired deep respect and unwavering devotion as he moved gracefully among the celestial hosts. In the ethereal realms where seraphim and cherubim dwell, an unparalleled grace enveloped them as they listened with rapt attention to the words of the radiant being among them. Even Michael, the valiant warrior of heaven, could not help but admire the wisdom that flowed from Lucifer. He orchestrated the heavenly choirs, leading them in fervent praises to the Creator, his voice igniting the air like a flame piercing the darkness, a brilliant light shining forth. Yet, it is important to understand that the Almighty did not create evil, rather, he fashioned something perfect. However, Lucifer, caught in the brilliance of his own light, allowed pride to take root within him. This insatiable thirst for glory consumed him like a hidden fire, slowly eroding his very essence from the inside out. As we reflect on the scriptures, we find the account of his fall encapsulated in profound truth. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. Ezekiel 28:17. What was once a divine gift transformed into the very source of his downfall. The beauty that all adored shifted to a snare that led to his ruin. The wisdom that had inspired countless others became a tool for his own self-destruction. Breath enveloped him, he yearned to ascend beyond his ordained station, to elevate his throne above the stars of God. In the depths of his heart, he proclaimed, I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God. Isaiah 14:13. Then, in a cataclysmic moment, the heavens trembled. Rebellion surged forth, shattering the peace that had reigned like delicate glass. Jesus himself bore witness to this event, declaring, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Luke 10:18. In an instant, Lucifer was thrust into the abyss, cast away from the light that had once been his home. His once radiant glory dimmed, and his splendor was swallowed by the encroaching darkness. The morning star, once a beacon of hope, was severed from the heavens, its brilliance extinguished. Yet, we must ponder, how could this tragedy unfold? In the sacred texts, though Lucifer's influence is vast, he is seldom mentioned, leaving us to contemplate the depths of his character. Why does a being of such profound impact appear so infrequently in Scripture? Before we delve into Lucifer's monumental rebellion, we must grasp this truth. The nature of Lucifer remains shrouded in mystery, revealed only through scattered fragments within the Word of God. The Bible recounts his tale in passages written with symbolic language, woven into the fabric of divine narrative. Therefore, this exploration draws from the scriptures as well as additional insights, notably from History of the Angelic World by Father José Antonio Fortea and the writings of St. Augustine. In these works, Lucifer embodies the desire to rise above his creator. Augustine reflects on how Lucifer, blinded by his own radiance, aspired to equal God, only to find himself exiled, leaving behind an eternal lesson for all of creation. Now, let us turn our hearts to understand how the soul of Lucifer began its tragic descent into darkness. Lucifer's fall commenced with a barely perceptible spark, a fleeting thought that flickered in the stillness of his mind. He pondered, what if my light could shine even brighter? What if my glory did not always need to serve another? These seemingly small questions were insidious, like seeds sown in silence, taking root and flourishing in the shadows of his thoughts. He envisioned himself exalted, seated upon the throne, basking in the adoration of all. With each task he fulfilled, the voice of pride within him intensified. Meanwhile, heaven remained in perfect harmony, yet something within Lucifer drifted further away with each passing day, a divine symphony disrupted by the discord of his heart. The other angels began to notice his transformation. He grew introspective and enigmatic, casting a shadow over his once vibrant presence. One day, Gabriel, concerned for his brother, approached and said, Lucifer, what burden weighs upon your heart? Your light seems to be dimming. Restless, Lucifer turned to Gabriel and replied, there are mysteries even we cannot comprehend, dear brother. A chill of unease swept over Gabriel, yet Lucifer averted his gaze, choosing silence over revealing the storm brewing within him each passing day. In the heavenly realm, there was a time when Lucifer, the morning star, shone brightly as the leader of the heavenly choir. Yet, a shadow began to cloak his brilliance. He started to neglect his sacred duties. The other angels felt his absence profoundly, as if a cherished star had fallen from the firmament. During the praise gatherings, where he once led with fervor, he now lingered in silence, his gaze turned upward, lost in distant thoughts. In Yavin, the rules were clear, yet there were no chains to bind the angels. God had bestowed upon each of them the precious gift of free will, allowing them to love and serve in their divine perfection. As Lucifer grappled with the tumult of his spirit, the angels surrounding him sensed a strange tension, a struggle between light and shadow. Some, captivated by his once radiant glory, began to listen to his voice anew, following him quietly, as if he could guide them toward a different destiny. A wise cherub, noticing the shift within him, approached Lucifer and gently inquired, "Lucifer, do you no longer find joy in your song?" With a cold smile, Lucifer answered, "I have found other pursuits. Perhaps there exists something beyond our understanding." In that moment, the morning star made a fateful decision, the flicker within him ignited into a blazing flame. "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will make myself like the Most High." With these words, his brilliance morphed from the light of divine praise to the fiery blaze of ambition. For the first time, paradise, so perfect and serene, felt the tremor of rebellion. His name, Lichtbringer, was not an empty title, he was indeed heaven's beacon, illuminating the darkness of creation with his once glorious light. Every angel listened intently to Lucifer's words, enthralled by the way he spoke of God. The angels, the wise and powerful, were not naive, each reflected God's purity in their own unique way. Yet Lucifer, with his compelling charisma and undeniable authority, drew them in, not through deceit, but through a vision of freedom and greatness that resonated deep within their hearts. He did not deceive the angels with empty lies, rather, he spoke with such passion that his vision became intoxicating. Many followed him, seeing in him a new light, like a fleeting shooting star that illuminated the night sky. Lucifer presented himself as a brilliant and extraordinary leader, one who seemed worthy of their devotion. His goodness, authority, and respect were rightfully earned. If we could truly understand the masterpiece that Lucifer was, we would grasp why God himself praised his creation. Even in his descent into sin, as noted in the book of Job, Lucifer remained a testament to God's power, for his essence had not been entirely diminished by his choices. In a moment of profound stillness, the divine gently called forth Lucifer, his beloved creation. The voice of the Almighty flowed like a deep river, full of love and patience, as he spoke, "Lucifer, my son, the seal of perfection, I sense your thoughts drifting away from our close communion. Within your heart, ideas are." Indeed, respect for Lucifer's influence was well earned. If we could truly comprehend the masterpiece he was in the Creator's grand design, we would understand why God himself extolled his work in the book of Job. Even in his faltering, he did not erase God's artistry, he stood firm in his being. Once again, the divine beckoned, calling him alone amid sacred silence. With a voice like a deep river, God addressed Lucifer with tenderness, "Lucifer, my son, the seal of perfection, I sense your thoughts drifting away from our unity. In your heart, ideas are taking root. Growing ideas that separate you from the eternal." With a serene radiance, Lucifer gazed upon the Creator and responded, "Father, did you not create me to seek understanding and explore the depths of your work? There is nothing I desire more than to grasp the breadth of your creation. Is this longing wrong, O God?" God's heart was heavy with sorrow, yet he held it within his boundless compassion. He understood the delicate nature of the freedom he bestowed. He knew that pride could sprout even in the most fertile ground. Lucifer, he spoke gently, "Your quest for understanding is commendable, but your thoughts are becoming self-absorbed. You have been captivated by the light I placed within you, yet you forget that this light is a reflection of my love, not your own source." Lucifer lowered his gaze, but within him, a fire of misunderstanding and pride flickered. "My Lord, I have sought nothing that isn't yours. This light is a gift from you. How could I ever turn away from you, having been made by your will?" With infinite tenderness, God looked upon him, aware that Lucifer was beginning to view his own glory as an end in itself. Though he had not yet sinned, his love was growing cold. Son, remember the source of all light. Do not let your heart be cloaked in shadows. If you turn to me, your radiance will flourish in truth, and together we will achieve more than any solitary thought could. Yet, instead of experiencing peace, Lucifer felt a prick of pride that he could hardly fathom. Did not God believe in his ability to remain steadfast? Why so many warnings? He withdrew, bowing his head, but within him, a chasm was widening. As days passed, his yearning to explore consumed him, and he no longer paused to contemplate God with the same fervor. The angels continued to worship, and the choir sang under his guidance, but Lucifer's heart was now divided. Once again, God called out, "Lucifer, I see the path you are choosing, and it grieves me to witness your transformation. Your light is dimming into shadow. There is still time, my son. If you return to me, the love within you will blossom anew." But this time, Lucifer turned away, his hardened heart seeking only self-gratification and the allure of personal glory. But was it a lack of trust in Lucifer's ability to remain faithful that prompted so many warnings from God? He withdrew with a humble bow, yet an invisible distance grew within him. As days unfolded, his desire to understand and explore the depths of his being only intensified. In the heavenly realms, Lucifer, the brightest angel, once the bearer of light, found his gaze drawn away from the Almighty. No longer did he pause in reverent contemplation of God's glory. The angels continued their ceaseless worship, their voices lifted in praise, yet Lucifer's heart grew increasingly divided. Once again, the tender voice of God called to him, "Lucifer, I see the path you are choosing, and it causes me great sorrow to witness this. My beloved son," God pleaded, "your light is dimming into shadow. There remains time for you to turn back, let my love within you blossom once more." Yet, in his pride, Lucifer turned a deaf ear to the call of his Creator. His heart, now hardened, sought only self-gratification and the allure of personal glory. In the recesses of his mind, he began to rationalize his feelings. Do I not deserve more? With infinite patience, God allowed him the freedom to choose, for love cannot be forced. He will not abandon you, God warned with a heavy heart, but the choice remains yours. God extended to Lucifer a chance for redemption, his sorrow profound, an ancient ache in his heart. He understood that he would lose his most splendid creation. While his mercy knew no bounds, Lucifer's choice required respect. "Even in your fall, my love for you will endure," God thought as Lucifer withdrew into the shadows. As Lucifer distanced himself, a palpable silence enveloped heaven, each celestial being holding its breath in anticipation. Soon, a great revelation would dawn upon the heavens, one that would challenge every spirit, especially Lucifer. In his boundless wisdom, God chose to postpone that moment. God yearned to give Lucifer time, to cultivate humility and reinforce the loyalty within his heart. With a voice imbued with love and concern, he spoke, "My son, a significant revelation is on the horizon, and when it arrives, the winds will howl fiercely, and the storms within your heart will rage, akin to a tempest tearing across the heavens. Prepare yourself, root yourself in obedience, for the test will be profound." Lucifer listened intently, kneeling before God, his eyes fixed on him with unwavering devotion. With a voice that resonated from the depths of his soul, he declared, "Father, whatever the trial may be, I yearn to obey your commands. I cannot promise flawless faithfulness, but my heart's desire is loyalty. Your love still ignites a flame within me." These were not mere words. Lucifer spoke from the very core of his being, and yet, in the shadowy corners of his mind, pride began to take root. He mused silently, "Am I not the one who shines the brightest among the angels?" God, in his enduring patience, granted him yet another opportunity. Once more, he delayed the revelation, providing Lucifer with additional time and space to draw near and seek the heart of God. In the grand tapestry of creation, each angel was woven with purpose and distinction. Yet, among them, Lucifer, at once radiant angel, silently pondered, am I not the one who shines the brightest? In the depths of divine patience, our Heavenly Father extended another opportunity to him. He chose to delay the unveiling of his ultimate plan, granting Lucifer the precious gift of time and space to draw closer and seek the light of truth. In the quiet chambers of heaven, God gently admonished Lucifer, whose heart was becoming heavy with pride. Lucifer, the Lord said, this test before you will not be easy. Even when the winds of temptation threaten to sweep you away, remember your true essence and origin. Know that all light flows from me. The struggle within Lucifer echoed the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, an earthly paradise that mirrored the harmony of heaven. In this sacred garden, God had showered his creation with abundant blessings, a place where peace and love reigned supreme. Yet, at the center stood the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a poignant reminder of the gift of free will bestowed upon them. The serpent slithered through the foliage, whispering deceit to Eve, you will be like God, knowing good and evil. This seductive temptation mirrored Lucifer's own folly, in that insidious whisper was burst a longing to grasp for more, to step away from total reliance on God. The morning star, the son of dawn, turned his back on the very light that sustained him, choosing instead to wander into the shadows. Free will, a precious gift from God, became the very vulnerability that led to ruin both in Eden and in heaven. Pride opened the door to downfall, shattering the perfect peace that once enveloped the celestial realm. The virtues that had stood as the foundation of the angels grew fragile, and for the first time, heaven experienced the chill of shadow. In this moment of revelation, God, in his boundless patience, delayed the inevitable, reaching out to Lucifer deep within his heart. My son, he called, the time of revelation approaches. Prepare yourself. It was a father's loving warning, a tender plea for humility. God, who cherished Lucifer deeply, believed in the possibility of redemption, that his love could pierce through the encroaching darkness of pride. Yet the time for waiting was drawing to a close. God had to consider the fate of all celestial beings, not just Lucifer. A thick tension enveloped heaven, a collective breath held in anticipation. On that fateful day, God summoned his celestial hosts, all the angels, great and small, to an assembly that illuminated the heavens with divine radiance. In solemn silence, the air crackled with expectation, every angel felt the weight of the moment. The firmament opened, revealing the boundless majesty of God. Then, like a gentle thunder rolling through the cosmos, his voice resonated, I will create a material universe, he proclaimed, a realm where life will thrive, a reflection of my love and glory in a new way. Before the captivated angels, he unveiled his magnificent vision, vast galaxies, planets spinning in perfect harmony, and on one of these celestial bodies, heirs, a sanctuary where life would flourish in its fullest glory. The angels gazed in wonder, their hearts swelling with joy as they beheld the Creator's breathtaking plans. Everything was new, a dream unfolding beyond their wildest imaginations. But then, the mystery deepened as God continued, not only will he create this universe, on that world, he will fashion beings in my image. Imagine, if you will, the vision of the cosmos unfolding, vast galaxies, planets spinning in divine order, and on one of these celestial bodies, heirs, a realm designed for life to thrive in splendid beauty. The angels observed in awe, their hearts swelling with joy as they beheld the Creator's plans. As the angels gazed upon the unfolding creation, everything felt new, like a dream birthed from the divine imagination. Yet, as God continued to speak, his words grew ever more mysterious, not only shall I create this universe, on that world, I will fashion beings in my own image. Likeness. They will be called humans. They will be of flesh and spirit, a blend of heaven and earth. And more, in that same place, I myself will become flesh. The second person of the Trinity, my Son, will take human form, his name will be Jesus Christ, and in that humanity, you shall worship me. As these profound words echoed in heaven, silence enveloped the celestial realm. The eternal God was inviting his creation to worship him in the frail form of Jesus Christ. He called upon them to kneel, not only before divine majesty but also before a human face, gentle and humble. The angels erupted into a chorus of wonder. of awe and jubilation. Behold, the light of light, the Word made flesh, was a manifestation of divine mystery so profound that joy erupted in the hearts of many. This was the unfolding of God's magnificent plan, wrapped in the most unexpected package, a testament to His unfathomable love. The heavenly hosts raised their voices in acclamation, feeling honored to witness such a sacred revelation. Yet, the mystery of the Incarnation held deeper truths. God, in His infinite wisdom, unveiled that humanity would face a fall into corruption, leading to the ultimate sacrifice of Himself through the cross. Yet, amidst this celestial choir of joy, one figure stood apart, Lucifer, the fallen angel. He remained still and silent, his heart untouched by either radiance surrounding him. His expression, a shadowy reflection of turmoil, betrayed the inner conflict raging within. In that moment, Lucifer's rebellion took root. The thought of bowing before a human form, of honoring God in the humble guise of flesh, was utterly unfathomable to him. Why, he pondered, would perfection deign to lower itself? Why should beings of light worship one bound in mortality? He learned that God would create humans, knowing their propensity for corruption, and still choose to sacrifice Himself for their sake. The vision of the crucifixion struck him like a thunderbolt. How could such ungrateful beings, destined to rebel, dare to inflict such pain? Lucifer was gripped by disbelief and disdain. The revelation of the Incarnation, the astonishing truth that the Creator would take on human form in Jesus Christ, ignited a tempest within him. From this tumultuous storm arose a burning question. Why not me? He lamented. For centuries, he had been the epitome of beauty, the closest to the throne, the Creator's masterpiece. Why had he not been chosen for such a glorious union? He believed his brilliance and wisdom made him deserving of greater honor. Yet, as he craved greater glory, God chose to humble Himself in human flesh. From this realization, bitterness took root, a venomous serpent coiling around his heart, suffocating every spark of love and reverence he once held. Lucifer, in his desire for greater glory, found himself not elevated but humbled, as God chose to don human flesh. From this profound truth, bitterness took root in his heart, coiling around it like a serpent, choking every semblance of love and respect he once knew. At long last, the pivotal moment had come. In that sacred space, the Lord of hosts was present, surrounded by a myriad of angels whose hearts thrummed with reverence. One by one, the brothers of Lucifer knelt in humble adoration, embracing the divine mystery of the Incarnation. Yet, amidst this celestial harmony, Lucifer stood defiantly, his form rigid, his piercing gaze fixed upon the throne of God. Within his heart, a tempest brewed, silent hatred that clouded his spirit. With lips trembling, he broke the heavenly silence, uttering a single word that echoed like thunder throughout the firmament, "No." God, in His infinite love and sorrow, turned His gaze toward him, yet all Lucifer could muster was a cold disdain. Drawing a breath heavy with defiance, he repeated his rejection, his voice rising with a chilling authority that sent tremors through the assembly of angels. It was as if a king declared judgment, and the heavenly host shuddered at the audacity of his rebellion. The angels were struck with confusion, grappling with the sight of the most radiant of beings challenging the Creator Himself. How could the embodiment of purity and beauty dare to disobey? As Lucifer turned his gaze upon the multitude, a calm yet terrifying resolve settled over him, and he began to sway their hearts. "Do you not see the folly of this moment?" he implored, his voice rich with dark allure. "How absurd is the request of our God? He asks us to worship flesh, to bow before something so transcendent." Each word, heavy with seduction, wove itself into the hearts of the angels, planting seeds of doubt in the once unshakable peace that enveloped them. "This is not glory, it is a disgrace," he continued, his icy passion cutting through the silence. "Why must we accept this indignity? It is our God who falters, who has strayed from the path of righteousness. Should we, beings of pure light, lower ourselves before something beneath us?" His logic seemed compelling, and the air thickened with uncertainty. The angels listened, their hearts caught in a web of bewilderment. Lucifer's words bore the weight of reason, and in some, the flickers of rebellion began to ignite. With the charisma that had always defined him, he locked eyes with them, determination etched on his face. Lucifer, the first among angels, had indeed fallen. As Archangel Michael prepared to intervene, the air crackled with tension. The angels, now teetering on the edge of doubt, absorbed Lucifer's rhetoric, whispers of rebellion that began to echo in their souls. His arguments held a seductive logic, posing the question, is it just that we bow before a mere human, something of lesser worth? Thoughts that some dared not voice began to swell within, like shadows creeping into the light of day. Was it fair that they should lower themselves before one so frail? As Lucifer spoke, his eloquence flowed freely, infusing every word with the authority he wielded so effortlessly. It was impossible not to listen, each phrase was charged with a blend of wisdom and defiance. His voice resonated with a fervor that penetrated deep into their hearts, like a subtle poison. Is it right, he pressed, for us to be asked to bow before something so lowly? This sentiments, barely whispered, took root, growing within them like silent seeds of discontent. As Lucifer continued, his charisma and authority held the assembly captive. His resolve was palpable, and the heavens themselves seemed to tremble at his words. But suddenly, amidst the tension, a voice echoed forth, shaking the very foundations of heaven. In a moment of divine clarity, a voice broke through the celestial realm, echoing with unwavering conviction, "Who is like God?" This was Michael, the humble archangel, a being of lesser rank yet radiating a purity that shone with unparalleled strength. His proclamation sliced through the heavenly atmosphere like a sword, addressing the very heart of Lucifer's rebellion. In those three profound words, Michael encapsulated the essence of God's majesty, revealing the fundamental flaw in Lucifer's prideful assertion, "No one can rival our Creator." A profound stillness enveloped the angels as they trembled at the weight of Michael's utterance. His simple yet powerful declaration awakened deep truths within them, reminding each celestial being of their origin, their purpose, and the Creator to whom they owed their existence. Lucifer, upon hearing this bold challenge, turned his gaze upon Michael, his eyes a storm of icy fury and unexpected surprise. Until that moment, no one had dared to confront him so openly. With unwavering courage, Michael stepped forward, small in stature yet mighty in spirit. "You are arrogant," he declared, his voice resonating like the rumble of thunder. Calm yet fierce, his words pierced through the darkness, striking at the very heart of Lucifer's deception. "Your light, Lucifer, has twisted into a shadow, attempting to eclipse the brilliance of the Creator. Do you not see? You have placed yourself above God." At that moment, Lucifer felt a deep wound struck at his core. Michael's words laid bare his pride and ambition, exposing them like shameful garments. A tumult of rage and humiliation surged within him, crashing against the walls of his heart like dark waves. In that vulnerable moment, he struggled to maintain a facade of strength before Michael, yet the sting of truth ignited a fire within him that could not be extinguished. "You understand nothing." Lucifer spat back, clinging desperately to his pride. "Are you so blind that you cannot see the humiliation we are being asked to endure? He, who once stood first in glory, will not kneel before something so inferior." Though his words were meant to assert strength, the bitterness and fury lurking beneath distorted his voice, revealing the turmoil within. Michael regarded him with a serene yet resolute expression, his voice calm yet powerful, embodying the force of 1,000 storms. "You do not grasp the essence of love, Lucifer. This is not a matter of humiliation, it is a matter of love. God, in His infinite grace, has become flesh for us, and you reject Him because you cannot bear to be lesser. You have forgotten your place in the grand tapestry of creation. You are but a reflection of His glory. It is not God who lowers Himself, it is your pride that elevates you beyond the bounds of your own understanding, leading you into darkness." In the weight of Michael's words, the fury and bitterness within Lucifer continued to distort his perception. Michael remained steadfast, his tranquil demeanor unwavering. "You do not understand love, Lucifer. This is not about humiliation, it is about love. In His profound love, God has become flesh for our sake, yet you reject Him for the sake of your pride. You have forgotten your true identity, and all you are is a reflection of His glory. It is not God who lowers Himself, it is your pride that elevates you beyond your own understanding. In the depths of his heart, Lucifer found himself crushed under the weight of truth. As a fast Michael, the archangel, a steadfast defender of God's glory, it was as if he gazed into a mirror reflecting his own shadow, a dark image filled with resentment. The fierce love that Michael embodied stood as a stark contrast to his turmoil, and he could not bear it. Without uttering a word, he turned away, distancing himself from Michael and the onlookers. He stood tall, yet within him, an unquenchable fire of anger raged. Alone in the vastness of heaven, Lucifer wept, not tears of sorrow, but of a fierce rage, fueled by a wounded pride. How could Michael dare to challenge him, the brightest of all angels? Yet deep within his soul, a faint whisper of truth echoed that Michael was indeed right, and that haunting realization tormented him the most. Thus began the rebellion, birthed from a heart filled with pride. Can you not see, murmured todos around him, his voice low yet brimming with conviction. God asks the impossible of us. It demands that we renounce our very essence, to bow before inferior beings made of clay. Why should we, luminous beings, humble ourselves before such frailty? Are we to worship a crucified God? He questioned, his tone dripping with disdain. We are glorious beings, yet we must kneel before a broken body, bloodied and marred, suffering in unimaginable pain. As doubt began to creep into the hearts of the angels, many began to murmur, Lucifer speaks truth, how can God impose such a burden? What if he is not truly God, but merely an elevated angel, perhaps even a greater Lucifer? Thus, the seed of doubt took root in the minds of many. His gas, intense and fiery, pierced the hearts of his brethren, igniting a flicker of truth within them. Lucifer's words were not laced with hatred, nor did they incite violence, rather, he spoke of dignity, the grandeur of their existence, and their rightful claim to preserve it. He was a master at reaching their hearts, appealing to their desire for freedom. He spoke of independence, of transcending their former selves. He promised them a heaven where they would not have to bow to anyone, where their own brilliance would shine without the need for subordination. God has bestowed upon us the gift of free will, he declared. Why not embrace it? Why not become who we were truly meant to be? With each gathering, Lucifer's following swelled. It was not the lesser angels who rallied to his cause, but the most beautiful and wise among them, those in whom the Creator had poured immense power and splendor. Carefully, Lucifer selected his companions, seeking out those who, like him, yearned for something greater. The most radiant beings of heaven, once the crown jewels of creation, began to form the ranks of his rebel army. He spoke of independence, of evolving beyond their former selves. He promised them a realm where they would run without bowing to any authority, a place where their inherent talents and light would be celebrated without the need to yield. God has granted us the gift of free will, he said. So why not seize it? Why not be who we truly are? With every assembly, his legion grew. It was not lesser angels who followed him, but the most resplendent, the wisest, those endowed with great power and beauty by God himself. Lucifer handpicked these beings, igniting their desire for more, drawing them into his vision of what they could become. Amidst the growing shadows, Lucifer sought out those who, like him, felt a longing for more than their divine purpose. Once, they were the radiant jewels of heaven, celebrated for their beauty and grace. Now, influenced by Lucifer's magnetic allure, they began to coalesce into a formidable army of rebellion. Each angel, once filled with divine light, now faced the perilous temptation of ambition and pride, their brilliance becoming a weapon against the very essence of creation. As the heavens began to darken, a profound tension filled the air. In one solemn gathering, Lucifer, with an aura that commanded attention, stood before the assembly of celestial beings. We are the future, he declared, his voice resonating like a mighty thunderclap. We are the luminaries that refuse to bow. We shall not allow our essence to be overshadowed by what we perceive to be lesser forms. His words ignited a fervent fire within the hearts of those present, causing even the most steadfast angels to tremble with uncertainty. If our Creator does not grant us the place we believe we deserve, he proclaimed with unyielding conviction, then we shall seize it for ourselves. The weight of his proclamation hung heavy in the atmosphere, stirring a disquiet that rippled through the heavenly realm. Under Lucifer's leadership, their understanding of existence was forever altered. This army, once loyal and beloved, now mirrored fallen stars, their beauty twisted into instruments of insurrection. With hearts ablaze with ambition, they sought a freedom that, in truth, was merely a chain forged by their own vanity, a tragic irony that would echo through eternity. The harmony of the firmament, once a tapestry of peace, now quaked under the weight of impending conflict. In a distant corner of heaven, Michael, the archangel known for his unwavering resolve, rose with steadfast courage. Brandishing his sword, he proclaimed, "Who is like God?" These simple yet profound cries stirred the spirits of those who still held faith, awakening a resolve to stand against the tide of rebellion. Armed with humility and unwavering strength, Michael stood firm against Lucifer's legion. Despite the overwhelming numbers and power of the rebel angels, he remained resolute, his faith served as a shield, and his loyalty was his might. With each heartbeat, he embodied the promise that true strength lies in steadfast devotion to the Creator. Thus, the celestial conflict reached its zenith, the battle between light and shadow, a heartbreaking clash of brothers. Lucifer, the once beloved morning star, had twisted his glory into rebellion, forever altering the narrative of creation. Each clash of swords and each anguished cry echoed through the heavens, marking the onset of a struggle that would resonate across time and eternity. The final confrontation erupted with a ferocity that rattled the very foundations of heaven. On one side stood the rebel forces, led by Lucifer, whose once bright light now cloaked in darkness. Opposing him was Michael, the humble archangel, fortified by unshakable faith and courage, embodying the essence of loyalty to the Creator. Heaven, once a sanctuary of peace and harmony, transformed into a dazzling battlefield, a fierce clash of light against shadow, loyalty against insurrection. The armies collided like waves of fire and thunder, each encounter of their radiant swords cast brilliant flashes across the celestial expanse, illuminating the darkness like shooting stars caught in a tempestuous dance. In a time when the heavens echoed with beauty and power, the fallen angels, once radiant and majestic, unleashed their fury in a celestial rebellion. Yet, amidst this chaos, the faithful angels, led by the humble archangel Michael, stood firm. With voices that resonated throughout the cosmos, they proclaimed, "Who is like God?" This cry was not merely a question but a declaration of unwavering faith. Michael's true strength was not found in his rank but in his profound faith. He engaged in this heavenly battle not for personal glory, but driven by a love for the Creator and His truth. Empowered by this certainty, his strength multiplied as he inspired his fellow angels. They felt a divine presence enveloping them, reminding them that they were never alone in this great celestial struggle. The Creator stood with them, a presence that infused them with strength beyond any earthly battle. Yet, Lucifer, consumed with rage, sought to overpower Michael. Rising upon his dark wings, he exhaled shadows that cast doubt upon those who dared to look upon him. He was the first, "I am the true." He proclaimed, his voice a deceptive whisper of power. But Michael, rallying his brothers, shouted with unwavering conviction, "Who is like God?" His faith illuminated the darkness surrounding them, reinforcing their resolve. In this moment of conflict, Michael's heart beat not for pride but for the righteousness of the Creator, his strength a beacon of hope for the faithful. The angels, cloaked in divine power, understood that they were part of a greater purpose. The Creator's presence infused them with courage and resilience, enabling them to withstand the fierce onslaught of Lucifer. As the dark shadows loomed, they held fast to the light of their faith, unyielding and strong. But Lucifer, in his fury, shouted, "Light!" Yet his proclamation was empty, a hollow echo of the brilliance he once possessed. The light within him had become a distorted shadow, unable to overshadow the pure truth that Michael embodied. The battle raged fiercely, shaking the very foundations of heaven itself. As the celestial clash unfolded, wounded angels watched with sorrow and awe, feeling the heavy burden of rebellion in their hearts. The peace that once reigned in heaven was fractured, and the perfect order of creation teetered on the brink of chaos. Yet, in the midst of despair, hope stood resolute, shining through the darkness. The unwavering faith of the loyal angels, their love for the Creator, ignited a fire within them. Every blow they struck and every courageous step they took against Lucifer and his followers was a testament to their devotion. Ultimately, the forces of good triumphed, and Michael raised his sword high, declaring the final battle cry, "By God's power, fall." The faith of the loyal angels, born from their deep love for God, shone brightly in each strike they delivered against Lucifer and his followers. In a climactic moment, Michael raised his sword, proclaiming the final decree of the battle, "By God's power, fall." In that instant, darkness was torn asunder. The rebellion, once fierce and tumultuous, began to collapse. The fallen angels, attired of the heavenly host, were cast down, like stars plummeting from the heavens. Lucifer, now known as Satan, led those who had chosen to follow him into the abyss of despair. Heaven descended into a solemn silence, a hush that resonated with the profound sadness of an irreplaceable loss. The battle had left deep scars, wounds in paradise that only love and the passage of time could heal. The faithful angels bore the weight of the conflict upon their souls. Yet, they recognized that light had prevailed. Truth, fight, and hope, those eternal virtues that can never be vanquished, had emerged victorious. Heaven held close an everlasting truth: good always triumphs over evil, not through force or violence, but because goodness is the very essence of God, a light that darkness cannot extinguish. Though pride, hatred, and ambition might fight with ferocity, they are but fleeting shadows against the brilliance of love and faithfulness. The battle had reached its conclusion, and heaven, though scarred, remained at peace. Michael's unwavering fight, the humility reflected in his words, "Who is like God?" now echoed throughout the universe, a timeless and unshakable truth. This serves as a reminder that God's glory knows no bounds, and nothing, not even the brightest light of rebellion, can diminish it. Even in the aftermath of conflict, the essence of goodness shines through, illuminating the path of hope and faith for all who seek it. This expulsion followed the final conflict, where heaven opened its gates to cast out the rebels. Lucifer, once known as the morning star, along with his fallen angels, was hurled far from the light, descending into the depths of darkness and despair. In that moment of expulsion, the very heavens quaked with sorrow. The angels, once radiant and powerful, their brilliance rivaling the stars, fell from grace like meteors cast into the depths of chaos and shadow, a realm of eternal exile where the glorious presence of God could neither be seen nor felt. Lucifer, now bearing the name Satan, felt the heavy burden of his fall, an ache in his spirit akin to a burning iron. The profound separation from God, his light and the heavenly peace, inflicted wounds deeper than any physical torment imaginable, as he found himself confined in a place devoid of hope and harmony. This was not yet the final hell, but rather a disordered realm of utter spiritual isolation, a stark contrast to the peace and glory of the Creator. For Satan, this expulsion signified the end of his divine purpose. Yet, in his pride and bitterness, he conceived a new mission: if he could not attain God's glory, he would seek to obliterate it wherever he found it. In this abyss of despair, his gaze fell upon creation, the material world that God had lovingly crafted. Within his twisted thoughts, a dark plan began to form: if he could not possess heaven, he would corrupt God's most precious creation, humanity. The very notion of pulling those made in God's image into darkness filled him with a bitter sense of satisfaction. Humans, in their innocence, had taken the place he once held in God's favor. The love and goodness with which they were created became the targets of his vengeful heart. His intentions were clear: he would unleash his fury upon this divine masterpiece. In the grand tapestry of creation, it was humanity that claimed the place once held by Lucifer at God's throne. The love and goodness with which they were fashioned became the very target of his growing hatred. His motivation was as clear as day: he sought to undermine the divine masterpiece. When Lucifer and his army of fallen angels were cast out of heaven, it was not merely an act of separation, but rather a profound expression of resentment and hatred toward the divine. This animosity ignited a relentless mission to undermine God's creation and taint the purity of his handiwork. With Lucifer's expulsion, the balance of good and evil shifted dramatically. Evil no longer existed solely as a void where goodness was absent, it emerged as a formidable, organized force seeking to manipulate the world. Under the leadership of Satan, these fallen angels aimed to sow seeds of corruption within humanity, steering hearts toward pride, envy, and despair, the very vices that precipitated their own fall from grace. In his boundless love and unwavering justice, God permitted this separation. The expulsion was not merely punitive, it was a reflection of divine justice. Those angels who chose rebellion, rejecting God's perfect love and holiness, could no longer partake in his glorious presence. While God's love remained ever constant, his justice called for a necessary balance, ensuring that those who turned from the light could no longer dwell within it. This divine act beautifully illustrated the harmony between God's love and justice. Justice required a separation from the divine light, while love granted the fallen the freedom to exist, albeit in the shadows of their own making. The saga of Lucifer, now known as Satan, does not conclude with his banishment. Instead, it unfolds as a narrative of the ongoing struggle between good and evil that we witness today. His fall, along with the hatred and desire to lead humanity astray, manifests in every temptation and spiritual conflict that we encounter. Evil seeks to infiltrate the hearts of humanity, tempting us with the allure of greatness and freedom. Yet, this influence is ultimately constrained, for the goodness that flows from God holds the ultimate authority. The battle that ignited in heaven reverberates on earth, taking root in the hearts of every individual. Though Satan and his minions endeavor to extinguish the light within each soul, God's grace, love, and justice are ever present. They serve as a reminder that despite the clamor and defiance of evil, goodness will always triumph. The light that originated in heaven continues to shine on earth, illuminating the hearts of humankind. Satan and his demons may strive to cast shadows over our souls, yet God's grace, love, and justice remain steadfast, reminding us that righteousness will forever prevail. The triumph over Lucifer's fall marks the dawn of an eternal struggle, a poignant reminder that ultimate goodness, light, and divine love are unconquerable. As in heaven, so on earth, Michael's timeless question echoes, who is like God? Since his expulsion, Lucifer's influence in the world has been profound. Now known as Satan, he pursues a singular aim, to corrupt the creation he once inhabited. The scripture recounts numerous instances where Satan takes on the role of tempter, challenging not only ordinary mortals but also pivotal figures in the unfolding story of faith. In the sacred texts of the New Testament, we witness an iconic moment of temptation when Satan confronts Jesus in the wilderness after 40 days and nights of prayer and fasting. Here, the adversary attempts to lure the Son of God with enticing offers, hoping to exploit vulnerability after a season of spiritual devotion. Satan, with cunning craft, entices Jesus with bread, saying, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." It then takes our Lord to the pinnacle of the temple, tempting him to cast himself down, calling upon angels to save him, seeking to provoke a display of divine power. Lastly, he offers the kingdoms of the world in exchange for a moment of worship, revealing his true intent to claim what belongs to God alone. Yet, in this pivotal confrontation, Jesus stands firm, responding to each temptation with the word of God, reaffirming that true power and glory are reserved for the Father alone. This encounter is not merely a battle of wills, it exemplifies the strength of faith and humility, affirming that genuine power is found not in earthly riches or miraculous displays, but in unwavering obedience and love for our Creator. In the book of Job, we find a parallel tale of temptation and testing. Here, Satan boldly approaches God, challenging the integrity of Job's faith with a scornful question, "Does Job fear God for nothing?" In this moment, he seeks to undermine Job's devotion and, by extension, the goodness of faith itself, suggesting that Job's love for God is merely a transactional loyalty. Yet, Job's response, though marked by deep anguish and doubt, becomes a powerful testament to spiritual resilience. His journey teaches us that faith is not contingent upon blessings but is a profound commitment that perseveres even amidst the darkest valleys of suffering. In the end, Satan's attempts to break Job's spirit prove futile, for Job's faith shines as an eternal beacon of trust and defiance against evil. In the depths of human suffering, we encounter a profound challenge to our faith. Used as in the story of Job, a righteous man tested beyond measure, the adversary, Satan, seeks to undermine the very essence of love and trust in God. His challenge suggests that even the most devoted can falter amid trials. Yet, Job's journey reveals a steadfast faith that defies despair, showcasing that true loyalty to God can endure even the fiercest storms of life. In the depths of despair, Job's heart was pierced by pain, yet, his response, marked by anguish and doubt, unfolds a powerful lesson in spiritual resilience. Through his unwavering endurance, Job exemplifies that faith transcends mere blessings, it is a steadfast loyalty that holds firm even amidst the storm of suffering. Satan faltered, and Job's faith became an enduring testament to the power of resisting evil while trusting the Lord. His first act of rebellion unfolded in the Garden of Eden, the sacred place where God, in His infinite love, set the stage for the human story. In that pristine garden, Lucifer seized an opportunity to rob Adam and Eve of their innocence, transforming them into the first casualties of his rebellion against the Creator. Assuming the guise of a serpent, a symbol of treachery, he approached Eve with whispers laced with seduction and doubt. Did God really say that you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Eve began with a question, planting seeds of suspicion that would blossom into disbelief. His strategy was not one of brute force, but rather a subtle whisper that, like poison, infiltrated Eve's heart and mind. In the depths of temptation, Lucifer cunningly transforms a simple desire into an overwhelming need, whispering the deceitful promise, "You will be like God, knowing good and evil." This seductive allure sealed humanity's fate. Adam and Eve, lured by the prospect of becoming more, a divinity unbound by obedience to their Creator, succumbed, and with their fall, the world plunged into the shadow of sin. With a single temptation, Lucifer achieved his dark design, to sever creation from its Creator, drawing the celestial conflict into the very hearts of humankind. Though his influence may seem diminished, his presence remains an unyielding struggle in our lives. Each temptation, each moment of doubt reverberates with that first choice in Eden, echoing the trials faced by Job and Jesus. Evil resonates as an echo of that primordial rebellion, a voice striving to cleave us from the source of all goodness. Yet, woven through every biblical narrative, every tale of resistance, we are reassured that good ultimately prevails. Fight and love stand as our responses to the shadows of hatred and despair that seek to engulf us. In the apocalyptic pages of Revelation, we glimpse Lucifer's ultimate fate and role in the climactic moments of time. This vivid tapestry of prophecy portrays Satan, the great dragon, as both humanity's and God's relentless adversary, intent on corrupting creation until the very end. John, the visionary behind Revelation, unveils a profound glimpse into the last days, an epoch where evil appears to reach its zenith, and the struggle between light and darkness intensifies to an unprecedented degree. Here, Satan is depicted as the great dragon, the ancient serpent known as the devil, who leads the world astray, sowing chaos in his wake. The once bright Lucifer, now transformed into a fearsome dragon, embodies not only evil but also the destructive and deceptive power he has wielded since his fall. This ancient serpent, who first introduced sin to humanity in Eden, now seeks to extinguish the last remnants of goodness and light in the world as the end of time approaches. Revelation speaks of a time of tribulation, a season marked by calamities and trials, where humanity is split between those who steadfastly follow God and those who succumb to the seductive whispers of evil. In this narrative, Satan manifests as the great deceiver, the being who has long sought to fracture humanity's connection with the Almighty. In these final days, he escalates his efforts, wielding every means at his disposal to fulfill his mission of corruption and destruction. He is portrayed as the accuser of our brothers and sisters, perpetually striving to lead the faithful astray, sowing seeds of doubt, temptation, and discord among us. Yet, amidst these trials, we are called to stand firm. Humanity is divided, some cling to the light of God while others yield to the siren call of evil. In this prophetic account, we witness Satan as the great deceiver, ever intent on severing our bond with the divine, but let us remember that we are empowered to resist and to prevail. In the twilight of days, the adversary intensifies his efforts, wielding every tool at his disposal to execute his mission of corruption and ruin. A is known as the accuser of our brothers and sisters, ever striving to lead the faithful astray by planting seeds of doubt, temptation, and despair in their hearts. The vision bestowed upon John reveals a climactic confrontation, where Satan stands against Michael, the archangel and protector of Israel, and the heavenly hosts one final time. This epic showdown continues. The celestial war ignited when Lucifer was cast down from the heavens. Now, in this culmination of time, the conflict reaches its fiercest point. The book of Revelation unveils Satan as the puppet master behind the beast and the false prophet, insidious agents that arise on earth to unleash chaos and idolatry. Through these forces, Satan endeavors to erect a kingdom that directly defies God's sovereign authority. This counterfeit realm stands as a distorted imitation of the divine kingdom, reflecting Satan's desperate ambition to be worshipped as a god. His ultimate desire culminates in the complete corruption of creation, revealing his relentless pursuit of glory through deception and tyranny. Yet, the narrative of Revelation culminates in a powerful vision of God's final triumph over evil. After the Great Tribulation and the last battle, Satan faces defeat, his power dismantled forever. In a striking image, A is captured and cast into the lake of burning sulfur, an eternal place of punishment that renders him powerless to influence humanity or creation. This act of ultimate justice seals the fate of Satan and his followers, an eternity wholly separated from God's glory. The fall of Satan in Revelation embodies the ultimate expression of God's victory over evil, a testament to his unwavering love and justice. Although God permits evil to act for a season, granting humanity the freedom to choose, He assures us that, in the fullness of time, evil is vanquished. This final destiny is not merely a consequence of Satan's rebellion but a profound affirmation of God's supreme power over all creation. In his ultimate downfall, Satan becomes the emblem of a failed rebellion, a dimmed light that, in its ambition and hatred, could never overshadow the love and goodness that are the very source of life itself. The defeat of Satan in the book of Revelation carries profound significance for humanity's history and destiny. This prophecy serves as a beacon of hope, reminding us that, despite the formidable appearance of evil, its time is fleeting, and its power is dwarfed by God's eternal nature. Good prevails not merely through might, but because it embodies the essence of truth, justice, and love. The final struggle between good and evil symbolizes the divine promise of restoration and redemption for all who choose to walk in the light rather than dwell in darkness. In our present day, the account in Revelation stands as a reminder that while Satan strives to lead humanity astray, his fate is irrevocably sealed. His power is limited, and his rebellion shall ultimately meet its demise. The story of his fall cries out to us, urging us to remain steadfast in faith, for God's victory assures us that light will always triumph over darkness. The narrative of challenge and defeat in the end times serves as a powerful reminder that goodness, despite facing overwhelming trials, will always emerge victorious. With fight, hope, and perseverance as our spiritual armament, we draw nearer to our Heavenly Father, holding fast to the truth that the final victory rests with righteousness and that God's radiant light will forever shine. If you have been captivated by the tale of Lucifer's fall, I invite you to delve into the intriguing account of the 5 prophecies found in the book of Revelation. These sacred messages unveil Lucifer's ultimate fate and his pivotal role in the climactic events that will bring resolution to the age-old conflict between good and evil. In the unfolding narrative of Scripture, these prophecies illuminate Satan's last great endeavor to corrupt the world. As we reflect upon the rebellion of Lucifer, the fallen angel, we recognize that his defiance not only sealed his own fate but is intricately linked to the destiny of humanity and the glorious triumph of divine justice. Prepare your hearts to uncover the conclusion of a profound tale that began with a catastrophic fall and culminates in ultimate revelation. Click the video on screen to embark on this enlightening journey. It's a moment you will surely not want to miss. Before the shadow of evil cast its pall over creation, there was a time when infinite goodness reigned supreme in the heavens. Picture a realm where everything was in perfect harmony, and every angel radiated the brilliance of divine light, standing in awe of their Father, the Creator of all things. Among these celestial beings, one angel shone brighter than the rest, Lucifer, the morning star. As the embodiment of perfection, he was filled with unmatched wisdom and unparalleled beauty. Lucifer stood as the most intelligent, most powerful, and most esteemed being in all of heaven's expanse, a true reflection of God's artistry. Every angel looked up to him, for he was the masterpiece of God's creation, the first being molded by his mighty hand. The heavens rejoiced at Lucifer's existence, for he was not only a marvel of beauty but was endowed with power and grace that were unmatched among the heavenly host. Lucifer's brilliance was remarkable, his wisdom second only to God himself. Yet, the tragic reality is that perfection is fragile.